Hello, everyone. Mike Arnold here, co-founder, Path Trading Partners, along with Bob Iacchino. So, S&P and Dow up today. Nasdaq slight down day. First indication that the we've been overbought, but now that the momentum is waning, narrower range. Also, you can see here narrower range compared to the last few days. One of the three markets ending down. We talked about, starting to watch for consolidation and or topping process. So this is really getting into the first little warning sign for me that either, remember, two ways you can consolidate. You can either, essentially drift sideways, holding above some key support levels, or retrace, and that's why we watch the rotation zone for the bigger retracement. Based off this large move, even if my key area to really watch for with the S&P is if it's holding above this prior resistance shelf becoming support, about 44.78 area. We also have the harmonic right there. So even if you pull back slightly, but then remain above there, I mean, that's pretty much just a sideways consolidation coming off the tops. A pullback move would be really then dropping into the daily rotation zone. Right now it's sitting at about 44.55 and could go all the way down to 44.19. So anywhere in there, that would be a pullback, and then we'd start watching for the potential rotation back up. So, my first little warning sign, again, going into tomorrow, you can see here, got above, sort of catching in between these two levels at the end of the day. I'm going to bring back my little support to right here, and this is a 1 hour S&P chart, and you can see with the bottom of the rotation zone. So my first little warning sign is if we get a close below about 45.16. That's my first little area I'll be watching for, that we could have a bigger pullback. You can even go about 45.13 based off the 4 hour. So I'm going to revise that down. 45.13 area, because that would be into, let me jump around time frames, that would be below the rotation zone on the 1 hour and into the rotation zone on the 4 hour. We start getting below that, I'm then back to this 44.92 area, and then below that, based off how extended we are, then I'd be watching that 44.65, and then I'd really start, because we'd be below that 44.77, that would be start to go into the corrective move of a retracement pullback instead of a sideways. So even if we pull back and don't really get a close below that 44.77, I'm just watching for the sideways, over a couple days with the daily rotation zone catching up. And if we start to drop back below that 44.77 area, then I'll start watching for the bigger pullback. But I would not be surprised by either a consolidation or a pullback based how overextended it is. Has not been able to get above this key resistance level of 45.35, so that's still an area I'll be watching. If I can get a key 1 hour and especially a 4 hour close above that, then the rally continues for me, and I'll be watching then 45.49. And then the next minor levels above there, this is a great area to do a reverse harmonic back to this prior high. And it reinforces really nicely this 45.82 to 45.85. So if we do get above the new highs, that's my next major target area, 45.82 to 45.85. However, before what really runs that out, I'd like to at least see a pause and a consolidation. Here's the weekly. You can see even if we push to slight new highs, it could form another topping divergence pattern. So we won't have really exceeded the RSI momentum unless we get a huge push higher that was established on a weekly basis back from May 3rd. That's just another concern. So even if we come up here and ironically enough, is even if we don't get above this 4622 area, this could be a massive double top pattern, but we will have to see. It's really premature to talk about that, just pointing it out. Over to the NASDAQ. NASDAQ did have a slight down day today. Didn't get much of a rally on. Couldn't even get to this next key level of 15,500, 15,497 to 15,500. Did find some support at our 15,319, but this is really just, this is especially a consolidating move because now it's let the rotation zone catch up. So if we start getting below 15,319, my next key level is about 15,262, and then below that, 15,262, I'm coming back to about 15,145. 15,145 was this little, let me jump over there again. Sometimes helps to jump around in time frames. I know it could be a little confusing to the viewer, but this is, I don't pre-analyze any of this before I record because this is all stream of consciousness and how I do my, sorry, that was my business partner responding to a message I sent him. How I respond to, analyzing the overall time frame. So what jumps out at me is this little prior resistance shelf becoming support. And then if you come over to the daily, now we're at the rotation zone on the daily. So if we did pull back and start coming into this area, one thing I'm going to watch is the trend line coming in tomorrow for kissing at goodbyes about 15,200. Then if we had a bigger sell-off, 15,150, and then again if we get below that, 1565, bottom of the daily rotation zone. To the upside, the first sign that I will start watching for higher prices is if we get above this 15,419. So above this 15,419, really 15,420, you can see this sort of consolidation phase right here. If we get above 15,420, then I'm going back to 15,492 to 15,497 and then 15,500. So anywhere 15,492 to 15,500 is my next target area if we can get a move above 15,419. And I don't just mean on a 5-minute chart. I'd need it to sustain at least on an hourly basis above that level. Above there, we have 15. We're really nothing else then. 15,617. That's my next key level to the upside. Finally, let's jump over to the mini Dow for a second, which came up. What was the high today? The high on the mini Dow futures, 35,541, and our prior high was 35,547. So not quite making a new high. Jump to the weekly real quick on that because you see here it's still potentially this was my peak right before the other high right up here, and we could still, even if we eke out a new high tomorrow, it's still on waning momentum. So that is another consideration right there, a little concern even if we do eke out that new high. But above there, I'm still going to 35, about 685, 688 level is my next key. And then above there, 35,818. Support, what am I keying off of? You can see we're holding this 35,425 area. On the 1 hour, we went back to retest that. I'm really going to be focused on it. I'm going to shift this down now going into tomorrow because my key support on the 4 hour now is about 35,355. If we drop below there, these levels are lining up really nicely. Then my major support is 35 to 10. So even if we pull back, as long as we remain above 35 to 10, it's just a normal pullback to the 4-hour rotation zone. We start getting a 4-hour close below 35 to 10. Then my next level I'm watching is 35,000 right here with the daily rotation zone. And below that, I'm then keying off of 34,850. So those are my levels to the downside. We're back in overbought condition. So we remember we had that down close with the NASDAQ, but S&P and Dow still up. So that's about all I have to talk about with the market overview. Let's see how tomorrow plays out, and then we can reassess things over the weekend coming into next week. It's just getting a little tired even with this push up. Talk to everyone later. Bye for now.